INEC says 87.2 million permanent voter cards have been collected. ECOWAS election monitoring team visits defense headquarters, seeks hitch-free election process. Plus, Japan to propose new Russia sanctions at online G7 summit. Hello, this is News Live and Viewer Television. I am Jennifer Okolo. Many thanks for joining us. Now, ahead of the presidential election on Saturday, former Sierra Leone President Mike Koroma has led the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS election monitoring team to the defense headquarters in Abuja. The acting director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tokoro Gusau, made this known in a statement in Abuja. Koroma said their mission was to observe the conduct of the upcoming elections and ensure that the process was hitch-free. He said it was very customary for ECOWAS to support member states, especially that a big brother country like Nigeria prepares to go to the polls to elect its leaders. The former Sierra Leonean president said that in the course of their duty, the team had met with critical stakeholders including the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, civil society, and security agencies. Also, the Borno State INEC Commissioner says all is set to conduct the presidential elections on Saturday. The resident electoral commissioner, Muhammad Magaji, disclosed this during a chit-chat with journalists in Maiduguri. Magaji said sensitive and non-sensitive materials for the elections has already arrived in the state and over 21,000 ad hoc staff are ready to conduct the voting of 2.5 million registered electorate in Borno State despite uncollected PVCs of more than 91,000 cards. He added that the 4 insecure and liberated local government councils of Marte, Kukawa, Guzamala and Abadan will be voted at super camps.
Of course, you have Guzamala. In Guzamala, the authority is Nganze. So elections are going to, the elections that we are going to conduct in such places, normally it is a super camp. All of them who can vote in that local government, they assemble in a place. When they assemble, we allocate their wards and PUs there and then. This is exactly what we did in 2019 here in the Teachers Village and other places. So we are, can I say, we have a lot of experience in IDP voting in Maiduguri. So we know how to do it. We arrange our voters without any stampede, without any problem at all. Southern Borno, they collect their fuel in Biu.
Well, as the 2023 general elections draw near, a civil society organization has called on Nigerians not to only focus their attention on the presidential and gubernatorial election, but to also ensure scrutiny on candidates running for the 469 National Assembly seats. Speaking during a briefing with members of the House of Representatives Press Corps, the Executive Director of Order Paper, Oke Ekpe, observed that Nigerians may suffer a less optimal service delivery in the next dispensation if they do not pay attention to those who become members of the National Assembly. The report.
Going by the concept of representative democracy, the legislature is the first and foremost arm of government, and it plays a crucial role in the sustenance of democracy. From 2011, 2015 and 2019 up to now 2023, there has been an increased appetite among the citizenry to participate in the electoral process. But essentially, they are not properly informed about the legislative elections as well as the duties and obligations of lawmakers. This is a major challenge and the need for citizens not to only focus their attention on the presidential election or the gubernatorial election, but to elect the would-be lawmakers on the basis of merit or performance in the case of returning lawmakers.
The polls and anticipation and expectations are incomplete if we do not call attention to who become members of the National Assembly post 9th Assembly. In other words, we strongly believe that the preponderant attention and focus on the presidency tends to rob us off of the attention we should pay to those who populate this precinct, these hallowed chambers of the House of Representatives and the Senate.
While there appears to be increasing awareness among Nigerians and about the National Assembly elections, a lot of eligible voters do not know these candidates, and research shows that about 0.23% of lawmakers have nothing to close to an articulated manifesto.
So if you have over 4,000 legislative candidates, and just about 0.23% of them have anything close to a clear understanding of what the legislature does, what legislators do, and are able to articulate something that's, okay, citizens can, inform citizenry can interact with, then we actually have a lot of work on our hands to do.
Thursday, 23rd February 2023, being the official close of campaigns for the National Assembly election, Nigerians are encouraged to take advantage of the list released by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to scrutinize the candidates seeking their votes.
So this goes a long way to say about who we send to the National Assembly. Do they understand the core functions of the National Assembly, or what they should be doing at the National Assembly? And I think that we do owe all of ourselves that duty to project what they have done so well and what they haven't done so well, so that citizens are able to make informed decisions.
And we're even seeing people now, especially in the FCT, leveraging the candidacies of the popular candidates, perhaps the third force movement, even though they don't belong to that party. What that is saying is that people should be elected on the basis of bandwagon, and this would not do our legislature any good. It will not be healthy for our democracy. People must be elected on the basis of individual merit.
In 4 months' time, the 10th National Assembly will be inaugurated, and it is therefore not worthy to state that this year's National Assembly is held on the eve of the 25th anniversary. The call is for Nigerians to pay more attention to know the real functions of their lawmakers, which is lawmaking, oversight, and representation.
While still on electoral matters, operatives of the Rivers State Police Command has arrested a member of the House of Representatives, Chinyere Igwe, with $498,100 on the eve of the 2023 general elections. The federal lawmaker's arrest comes barely 72 hours after the building housing his two media outfits, the Wish FM and Atlantic Television Network, was rocked by an explosion. Igwe, a staunch supporter of the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Atiku Abubakar, represents Port Harcourt Federal Constituency 2 in the National Assembly. He was arrested along Aba Road in Port Harcourt, the state capital. Spokesperson of the State Police Command, Grace Irige Koko, who confirmed the incident, said the lawmaker was arrested with foreign currencies and a list of how the money will be distributed. The police urged members of the public to report any observation they believe has the potential to lead to crime or breakdown of law and order. Now, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, has declared that elections will hold in every part of Nigeria and that the armed forces, the police and other security agencies were ready to defend democracy at all costs. Acting Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, quoted the CDS as urging Nigerians to discountenance any threats that elections will not hold in certain parts of the country. The Armed Forces of Nigeria is committed to strong and viral constitutional democracy. We are very loyal to the Nigerian state and we are ready to defend democracy at all costs, he stated. The acting DDI spoke at a joint media briefing with the spokesperson of the Nigerian Police Force Department of State Service, DSS, as well as those of the Nigerian Air Force and the Nigerian Navy, disclosing that Operation Safe Conduct for the elections had been activated to provide guidance to armed forces of Nigeria during elections, Gusau said. He also re-echoed the warning of the CDS to undesirable elements that the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies were ready to subvert any threats to peace and tranquility. When News Live returns, the Independent National Electoral Commission says a total of 87.2 million voter cards have been collected across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Details of this and more comes to you right after this break.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Where are you?
I'm at the Envoy Hotel, Diplomatic Drive 305, here for a business weekend. It's been an amazing stay. Conference hall and business facilities here are stylish and innovative. The Envoy Hotel is luxury, esoteric, opulence, for ultimate comfort.
Discerning travelers, we are more than just a place to stay. We are an icon of comfort, style, and thoughtful luxury. We are Envoy Hotel.
Two souls came together. Two souls came together.
Tat Fragrance, the new luxury fragrance for men and women.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Live. Here's a recap of our top stories. INEC says 87.2 million permanent voter cards have been collected. ECOWAS election monitoring team visits defense headquarters, seek hit-free election process. Plus, Japan to propose new Russia sanctions at online G7 summits. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission says a total of 87.2 million permanent voter cards (PVCs) have been collected across the 30 states of the Federation and the FCT. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, revealed this in the summary of registered voters and PVCs collected for 2023 general elections released to newsmen in Abuja. The number of collected PVCs according to INEC represents 93.3% of 93.4 million total registered voters. It also revealed that the total number of uncollected PVCs was 6.2 million, representing 6.7%. The documents revealed that Lagos has the highest number of collected PVC with 6.2 million, followed by Kano with 5.5 million, Kaduna with 4.1 million, and Katsina with 3.4 million. Yakubu told the newsmen that the full details of the collected and uncollected PVCs per polling unit will be made available on the Commission's portal. The military, police, and Department of State Services have begun massive raids on the hideout of hoodlums as a preemptive measure to curb violence during Saturday's general election. As part of the crackdown, no fewer than 63 suspected thugs were arrested in Kano after hoodlums attacked the New Nigerian People's Party supporters. It was learned that at least 4 persons were killed while 10 vehicles were destroyed during the attack, which occurred at noon along Naibawa Zaria Road. Newsmen gathered that the NNPP supporters were on their way to Kwana Dongara on the outskirts of the city to receive the party's presidential candidate, Rabiu Kwankwaso, when the incident happened. The public relations officer of the State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ibrahim Abdullahi, confirmed the arrest of 63 suspects. Now over to election security. The Federal Capital Territory Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has deployed 3,000 personnel to ensure security during Saturday's polls. A statement by the NSCDC FCT Command Public Relations Officer Comfort Okomayi in Abuja said the personnel were drawn from all the core operational and tactical units. Okomayi reveals that the core FCT commandant Peter Maigari said the combatant officers would work closely with other security agencies to protect critical national assets during the elections. He added that they would also man strategic places, including polling units, collation centers, Independent National Electoral Commission offices, staff, and materials. The public relations officer urged FCT residents to avoid election violence or any action with the potential of disrupting the electoral process. Well, the multinational Joint Task Force has donated compensation grants to relatives of 21 deceased soldiers and officers, including civilian JTF, who lost their lives during operations in the fight against insurgency, marking the tribute of the men of the force who paid the supreme price in 2 major operations of Sharon Fage and Lake Sanity at borders of neighboring countries. The force commander of the multinational joint task force said the sacrifice contributed to the restoration of peace in the Northeast. He said the fallen hero's sacrifice will not deter the force to rest on its oars until peace is completely restored in Nigeria.
They are indeed the pride of the Lake Chad region and particularly Nigeria. Our debt to these heroic and valiant troops and other partners can never be paid or compensated for. It is only but a show of gratitude and appreciation. They have earned our undying gratitude and we will never forget their sacrifice.
I am pleased to state that the entire armed forces and nation remain grateful to our fallen heroes and their families as we continue to do our best to restore total peace in the Northeast and other theaters of the country. And I assure the sector and others of quality leadership and support to continue to work in ensuring that we end the insurgency in the Northeast. Let me just say one thing before I finish. We shall not cry or feel bad because they died. Rather, we should be happy that they lived to contribute what they did for the safety of all still alive today.
Plan International has donated furniture and water boreholes, among others, to 20 secondary schools in Yobe and Borno State, marking the symbolic handover of the completed projects, which include drilled boreholes, latrines, and classroom furniture at the Shehu Gaibar schools in Maiduguri. Plan International said the intervention is to address the disturbing challenges of educational infrastructure in the two states in a bid to make learning convenient for students. They stated that the motive is to support the Northeast region as it recovers from the post-insurgency era and ensure that education remains top priority for children across Nigeria.
Imperative for the project to identify some of the unique needs that the different schools in order to create a demand for education while strengthening the supply for education in these schools. So in all the efforts of the project and Plan International is to improve the quality of teaching and learning in school while creating access to education. Sustainability has been a key component of what we've been doing right from the start of the project. And so at this point, we are going to be strengthening that component of sustainability so that all that has been done will be maintained in these schools.
So when we are to talk about on Plan International distributed furniture to the classes of our students. So therefore, I can say that they have done their best and more is expected from them if possible. And this intervention is required by the various local governments that have not benefited. So where possible, I can appeal to the Plan International to do more to the rest of the schools too in the affected areas in Borno State.
You are still watching News Live on Viewer Television. Business and international news come to you right after this break. Do stay tuned.
Pararam pra reparar, estão ouvindo esse som, usando seco no ar, merecem atenção. Preparem bem os sensores para poder captar. Parem usinas, motores.
In this 21st century where all the information we need is now in the palm of our hands. News from around the world, entertainment, celebrity gossip, sports, and much more. The only thing that you need is the right source. Viewer TV is now on the go. Simply check us out on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter for all the information you need.
Welcome back. Now, on Business Today, the Nigerian Communications Commission has stated that there will be no telecommunication shutdown for the elections. It said this in response to information circulating about a planned network shutdown for the elections, adding that all network operations will run as usual. According to the Commission, it has received assurance from all service providers that there will be no deliberate shutdown or disruption on election day. However, MTN Nigeria recently informed its customers of a network freeze scheduled to happen during the presidential and governorship elections. The first phase of the network freeze will start on the 24th of February 2023 and end on March 1st, 2023, while the second phase will start on March 10th and will end on March 15th. Meanwhile, power distribution companies have stepped up the quantum of electricity load allocation that they receive and distribute to consumers across the country, as the latest data from the federal government shows a reduction in the amount of unutilized energy by the discos. Data released by the federal government-owned Transmission Company of Nigeria on daily discos load summary from February 4th to 10th, 2023 showed that the cumulative excess load allocation that was taken and distributed by the discos during the period was 897 megawatts. The report, however, indicated that the total quantum of energy that was not utilized during the same period was 407.53 megawatts. Nigeria's daily power generation has been hovering between 4,500 megawatts and 5,000 megawatts for some weeks now. As of Thursday, it was 4,753.9 megawatts. Now moving on to stock markets, gains recorded by Mrs. Nicholas and the others lifted the stock market by 180 billion naira at the close of trading on the floor of the Nigerian equity market. The bullish trend extended the gains recorded by stock investors after the dip experienced on Tuesday. As a result, the market capitalization closed stronger at 29.768 trillion naira, higher than 29.588 trillion naira recorded on Wednesday. The all-share index rose by 330.85 points to close at 54,646.38. As measured by market breadth, market sentiment was on the upswing as 28 stocks advanced and 11 others declined. Gergu recorded the highest price gain of 8.60 naira to close at 255 naira per share. This was followed by Boa Foods, which gained 6.60 naira to close at 81 naira per share, and Mises gained 2.60 naira to close trading at 27.80 naira. Well, the Central Bank of Nigeria has launched the USSD channel of the Central Bank Digital Currency tag, the eNaira, on Bullnet's platform to boost the usage of the platform. It was launched in Lagos during an event to discuss the cash crunch and how the services introduced by Bullnet on the USSD channel of the eNaira would solve the problem. During the launch, the Chief Executive Officer, Bullnet Bulletin and Enquiries Networking Services, Bayo Akintoye, said the USSD with the code *997*50# will soothe the pain felt by Nigerians, given the current scarcity of cash as it transitioned from cash-based economy to a cashless one. He explained that in line with the cashless policy instituted by the CBN, the eNaira was established under the Project Giant initiative and launched by the President of Nigeria in October 2021. The project coordinator eNaira Project Giant team, Otaru Abdulkadri, who represented the co-coordinator eNaira CBN, said the eNaira was introduced to improve financial inclusion in the state, increase cross-border transactions, diaspora remittances, and the likes, and also complement payment infrastructure. On all news around the world, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said he plans to present to other group of 7 countries a set of new ideas for sanctions against Russia over its war on Ukraine when he hosts an online G7 summit later to mark the 1-year anniversary of the start of the invasion. Kishida, as the year's G7 president, told a news conference he also planned to call on other countries to stop providing military support to Russia. Kishida made these remarks just hours before he was to host a teleconference with other G7 leaders and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. At the summit, he planned to discuss the latest development in the Russian war on Ukraine, as well as how to support Ukraine's recovery and affirm G7 solidarity for the war-torn country. Kishida noted growing concern about China's potential transfer of lethal weapons to Russia and said that Japan will cooperate with G7 and other countries to send a clear message to third countries to stop supplying weapons to Russia. Also, the EU will purchase military supplies for Ukraine by joint procurement, the president of the European Commission said. Ursula Leyen was speaking at a joint press conference with NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg and Estonian Premier Kaja Kallas in Tallinn, Estonia. The leaders participated in a series of events celebrating the 105th anniversary of Estonia's declaration of independence and the first anniversary of Russia's war in Ukraine. It was originally Kallas who suggested 2 weeks ago at the EU Leaders Summit to set up a joint procurement system for purchasing arms for Ukraine in a similar way to bloc supported the development of COVID-19 vaccines and secure the supply of jabs. She said Russia is sliding to become an autarchic economy cut away from the world due to the sanctions the EU and its partners imposed and pledged to maintain economic and diplomatic pressure on Moscow. Now, still on Russia and Ukraine crisis, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said China doesn't have much credibility to act as a mediator for a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia because it has not been able to condemn the illegal invasion of Ukraine. The top NATO official went on to buttress his reserved assessment, recalling Beijing and signed an agreement with Russia's Vladimir Putin only days before the invasion. For her part, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, also visiting Tallinn, said China has already taken sides by signing, for example, an unlimited friendship right before the invasion. Chinese state-owned conglomerates trade in sensitive technologies with Russia's defense sector, including companies involved in Russia's ongoing crisis.
And the points presented by China. So first of all, China doesn't have much credibility because they have not been able to condemn the illegal invasion of Ukraine. And they also signed, just days before the invasion, an agreement between President Xi and President Putin on limitless partnership with Russia.
From the start of his brutal war, Putin has failed to achieve a single one of his strategic goals. Instead of dividing the European Union, he finds us united and determined to stand by Ukraine for as long as it takes.
Well, President Biden and the White House face a political threat over the fallout from the administration's response to the Norfolk Southern train derailment that has left residents of East Palestine, Ohio, scared and frustrated. Republicans have gone on the attack over the February 3rd derailment, questioning the urgency of the administration's response and asking why Biden has not visited the impacted community. Former President Trump on Wednesday accused the Biden administration of indifference and betrayal toward East Palestinians during a visit there, while the mayor of the village called it a slap in the face that Biden went to Europe before visiting the site of a potential environmental disaster. The White House said Biden has not spoken to the mayor. He returned from the dramatic trip to Ukraine and Poland to mark the anniversary of Russia's invasion, completing a secretive and complex visit to an active war zone with no U.S. military presence. And that's all on Newsline, but before we go, here's a recap of the headlines. INEC says 87.2 million permanent voter cards have been collected. ECOWAS election monitoring team versus defense headquarters 6-hitch free election process plus. Japan to propose new Russia sanctions at online G7 summit. Well, many thanks for watching. I am Jennifer Okolo. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.